I will never forget the day I got the diagnosis. I was in a meeting and the phone came and I was expecting to get some good test results.
Yeah, it was me and one of my buddies or whatever were sitting outside, and the ice was built up, so I started shoving away the ice and hacking it on, and I just couldn't breathe. I was like, out of breath for doing 2 shovels, and that's, I'm like, what, something isn't right.
And walked out into the hall and talked with, I think it was the surgeon's office.
I went up there, went in the ER, sitting there, and the nurse comes back and says, yeah, she did a MR, a CAT scan. She did the CAT scan twice.
And she said, you have breast cancer and you have a tumor in one of your lymph nodes and it's stage 2 and here's what we're going to do. And I heard about half of it.
And I'm laying there and I come back and she's like, you have a tumor in your lungs and then lymphoma and cancer, and I had no clue. I mean, never would have thought that. The word cancer, the worst thing about having cancer is knowing you got it. We all could have it. We all could have had something for years and not know it. The doctors called and said, you got to go to Ann Arbor, like right now. Emergency, you should get down there. So we turned the truck around right there and had nothing packed. I drove 7.5 hours. So we got down there to the emergency room, and then they got me in, and within a day they had me in the bed. I felt like I was there forever, because the first time I was in the hospital for years. Once I got out of there, they started the chemo. So then I had to go down there every 2 weeks. Out of everything, I was in the ICU. I was on a ventilator for 2.5 weeks. Yeah, my white blood cells would not come up.
I mean, even when he got off the ventilator, he went into a whole nother state of sickness.
And then they found out that that's for sepsis, so.
I mean, they didn't know if he was ever going to come out of the state that he was in. We didn't know, what was going to happen with him.
I just remember one day, I remember waking up kind of come to and could not move my arms, my legs. I was in ICU and I look up and sure enough, it was a priest giving me the last rites of, you got a day or two to live pretty much here. I could hear the doctors talking.
And I remember ending the phone call and standing up and looking around and saying, the world has changed for me. And it had. We all know that something's going to get us. And I didn't know if this was going to be it. I realized that day that this was not just my journey, it was Gary's as well.
I made a promise to Linda way back when. She said, this is going to be tough. I'm going to have some bad days. I'm not going to be as much fun to be around. I'm going to be crabby. And I said, is that all you got? Is that all you got? I said, I can handle that. I don't worry about it. Don't think about it. That will not be a problem.
I was treating for breast cancer with the Cancer and Hematology Center. And when I started, I had an unusual reaction to chemo. And basically, I had damage to the nerves going down to both legs. And so when I started, first of all, having a lot of pain in the legs, my oncologist referred me to this new partnership clinic between the Cancer and Hematology Center and Mary Freebed.
Once I heard about the place, it didn't matter how far. I just wanted to be independent as much as I could.
I remember when Kyle was admitted to Mary Freebed, I was very nervous about getting him here just because his treatment team was kind of all over the state. Up north, but then they were consulting with University of Michigan, and then here we are in West Michigan at Grand Rapids. And I was afraid we were making this triangle of the state of Michigan, and the thought I had was, can we really help him?
And then the thing with survivorship, I think sometimes is that it's painted as this moment in time, okay, you've survived cancer, that's great. And really that's much more a period of time where there's a lot of adjustment. There may be these kind of ramifications of the cancer treatment which is to some degree what Linda experienced.
I think what rehab really does is, of course, it's supporting the physical well-being, but it also has a huge component of supporting the mental fatigue. And it kind of is that extra magical jet engine that you put behind this person, and when they're about to go down, because they're either physically or mentally down, when they're about to slow down, you boost up that extra engine and it keeps you going forward.
I could go into the clinic feeling frustrated and tired and frightened, and I would come out of there feeling like, okay, this is going to work. We're moving in the right direction. You appreciate the miracle that your body is when it's working right.
There was definitely several things we needed to work on, including balance, lymphedema, weakness in her legs. And so we were able to, as a team, meet with her, evaluate her, set up some goals to accomplish each of those different parts that she needed to work on.
Mary Freebed had every piece of equipment and all the right people, the nurses, doctors, everyone knew exactly what they had to do.
He had a lot of pain in his legs, and that pain was telling him not to bend his legs, but we had to kind of convince him that you gotta work through this. It's gotta take slow steps to get there.
And there they pushed him, they were positive. If he didn't feel like getting up, he was getting up.
The patient will tell you what they need. They will give you that key and tell you, this is the part I need. And for him, it was actually being able to eat something that he really loved and he really liked that wasn't available at our hospital. And we were struggling with him to increase his oral intake.
She's like, you gotta eat. I said, I can't eat no more. She said, what do you like? I said, I like cereal. So the doctor come the next day, has a Walgreens bag full of cereal, Fruit Loops and Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's, again, I don't want to tear up. So that is, to me, that's the Mary Freebed way. Dr. Sinsky was able to bring from her experience as a patient over the last couple of years with cancer, was able to tap into those little things that if you hadn't gone through that yourself, you wouldn't know how that could brighten someone's day and be such a huge impact. This is not just a job where we punch in and we punch out. It really, it is a pleasure and a joy to be able to be an impact in these patients' lives.
When I was leaving there, I was crying. I was obviously emotional that I got through, I got there, but emotional of just not seeing the people again. It's kind of, And I told them once I get better enough, I'm coming back. I'd like to see everyone when I'm walking.
I feel like it made him more powerful and felt he didn't have to take any more meds, and he was out of the hospital because he was in there for a long time. So he was out of those beds and out of all that treatment.
Having Kyle and Linda as two examples of what inpatient cancer rehabilitation can do and outpatient cancer rehabilitation is a great example of the spectrum of things that Mary Freebed Cancer Rehabilitation Program can provide for patients and their families.
Mary Freebed took care of me physically, challenged me physically, never too hard, but also took care of me emotionally.
There are so many cancer survivors now with the advances of modern medicine. But I think our role in cancer rehabilitation is not only do we want our patients, our loved ones, to survive, how do we get them to go from surviving to thriving? And I think that that's where cancer rehabilitation is able to pull up a chair to the table of this patient's medical care and say, here's how we can help you.
Come on, get out. What do we got to carry you out of there or what?
I want him to be able to see his kids graduate from high school. I want him to be there when, if his daughter decides to get married and be able to walk her down the aisle. That's the part of the surviving cancer, but then thriving. If there are other life mile markers that he wants to do, I want him to be able to do those.
Now we're starting to talk about the future. Are we going to be able to get back on the river? Are we going to be able to get back to doing some of the harder things that we used to do?
Linda is such an inspiring patient. You know, we're now at the stage, I've known her for over 18 months, and now she's snowshoeing and she's going to her cabin again. And that's really all the hard work and all the commitment that she had to her rehabilitation and her recovery.
We don't know what we have until we lose something. And then suddenly you realize that you have all of the love in the world.
One of the measures of a community is how does it help those that need help? Who wants to live in a community where help is not available? Who wants to live in a community that doesn't share? You know, we try to live our lives as independently as possible, but times come when you need help. And when that time comes, has somebody anticipated that? Has somebody put together an organization that's there and ready to provide that assistance? And you certainly see that in Mary Free Bed. When the time comes, they are there and they are the experts and they can help. And then you will become a better person and have a fuller life because of them.